Vichi chifukwa pano tavantu tikupulikizika waka kweti kumaya chakutika vintu hivi ni vichi kuma nthulu vantu vakupanga vintu vakosha tipulikenge pano mprogramu yetu iyi yati chikomezge SSRLP. Ndipo nkuya pano kuti apapa alinazo nkhani zakuti watiphalire pano nezinandi kweneso tipulikengeso kuti ni maunonono uli nawo iwo akusangana nawo apa kugwira ntchito zawo izi gasi vakutandalaka kwene kukwa kunozga akabva mkomboni muno kuti mbweno muzi ukhale pawene kunyumba kwawo ke vikwenda vikuti uli vose ivi tipulikenge pene pano mbapapya vanaso mafamily program yake yatichigomezge SSRLP pano pa Voice of Livingstonia.
We are currently in Malawi, a small country in southeastern Africa. We are Silas and Jobis, two friends that lived together in Berlin and always wanted to travel to Africa. Before coming here, we have heard about the phenomenon of El Niño that has a huge impact on climate around the world. Although El Niño has always existed, it has grown stronger due to climate change. Especially certain areas like Malawi already feel a strong impact of this development. We wanted to see for ourselves if this is true. What is El Niño, and how does it affect the people living here in Malawi? We saved up for some equipment, reached out to several people and organizations, and started our journey. After flying to Dar es Salaam, we took the bus from Tanzania to the Malawian border, where Father Joseph and Brother Themi generously picked us up and brought us to the Capuchin mission in Mzuzu. He was the first one to tell us more about his personal experiences regarding El Niño.
My name is Brother Themi in Malawi, but original from Tanzania, around the Lake Victoria. I'm a Franciscan Capuchin, basing in Tanzania but doing mission in Malawi. We have a school where we are girls' secondary school. We are supporting the education there. It is a boarding school for the girls, especially those who are around and those who cannot manage to pay more fund school fees, because our school fees is reasonable compared with the other secondary school. As well as we have a hospital, the health center, Padre. The very simple is the last year. Last year we had a cyclone flood, which means we have excessive rain. In Africa, it is not normal to have a rain for 3 days consecutively, day and night. It is not normal. Normally we have a rain either in a seasonal, afternoon or evening, not more than 4-3 hours. But we had a rain for 3 days consecutively, which caused in Malawi more than 700 people died. People, they lost their homes. Up to now, they are suffering. Not have you heard the phenomenon of El Niño? Myself, I witnessed it. I was in Tanzania in 1998, 1999, where we have the rain. It was not in a normal way of raining.
But before we dive deeper into the story, it makes sense to take a closer look at El Niño and what kind of phenomenon it is. Therefore, we talk to meteorologist Dr. Peter Bissoli.
What is El Niño? El Niño is called the boy. And the boy means Jesus, the boy on Christmas time. And this is because the peak of this phenomenon occurs especially around December, January.
El Niño is a climate phenomenon characterized by the warming of the sea in the Pacific Ocean, along the equator, due to weakening of the trade winds. This warming disrupts normal weather, leading to increased rainfall and flooding in some areas like South America or Northern Africa, and droughts in others like Australia, Asia and Southern Africa. El Niño events occur roughly every 2 to 7 years and can have significant impacts on weather, agriculture and fisheries of the whole world. It is part of a larger climate cycle, which also includes the cooler counterpart, La Niña, the girl. Due to climate change, the cycle is faster and more vicious every time it appears.
In fact, for Eastern Africa, the effects are particularly strong. Starting in October, you have a rain period in northern parts of East Africa, in Somalia, for example, in other parts, in Mozambique, for example, or it can also be southern Malawi. There will be less rain than normal.
Indeed, at our arrival in November, the rain period has not started yet. Before leaving Mzuzu, Brother Themi brings us to his friend that had started an aquaculture project in order to use the flooding of his field for good. He built 13 fish ponds by hand.
This farm started around 10 years ago, and we've been growing slowly. Initially, we were not into fish farming. We were doing horticultural crops, cabbages, Irish potato, and what have you. Unfortunately, this place gets waterlogged quickly because 3 streams meet at this place. So we tried to change, to try to shift from horticultural crops into aquaculture. This one has helped us to address some of, again, as I indicated, some of the challenges we encounter. I'll give an example of fish. For fish to breed, they like breeding, our fish, they like breeding in warm months. So because of climate change, sometimes the cold season become prolonged, thereby retarding the breeding period during the cold months. We cover it and the water is warm, fish breed even during the cold months. So these are some of the activities that our farm is carrying out in order to mitigate, also to address some of the challenges we encounter with the climate change.
After this very warm welcome and first impressions about how climate change and El Niño have changed the lives of people living in Malawi, we continued our journey towards Senga Bay at Lake Malawi, the 3rd largest lake in Africa. Here we meet local fisherman Patrick Simon, who explains us how he is affected by the changes of El Niño.
I'm Patrick Simon from the village here. I do fishing. Yeah, I have a family. I have 3 kids. They are in school. Yeah, so what I do to survive, just go to the lake to do fishing. Definitely there is a big change. Definitely, because if you can compare the way we catch the way we catch fish this time with the 2 years back, it's very different. Because in the past we have maybe difficulties in terms of catching fish only May, June, July, because it's when we have bad weather. But this time, even in October or August, we have bad weather for fishing, just because there is maybe climate change, cutting down of trees, maybe bad weather. So it's like we have many months failing to go for fishing because of the climate change. Yes, even now I'm thinking of quitting this fishing business, because now it's like I'm putting more money than what I get. Because sometimes when I go, I catch less. You know, so this time fuel is expensive, everything. So where you see smoke, that's my office. So here is my office.
Perfect.
So what I was saying.
Oh, it looks great.
Yes. So we do smoking. After it is done, that's the way it looks. So we can keep this in this place maybe more than 3 months without change, damage or whatsoever. Yeah? And the taste is good as well. It's a snack, my friend. You can have like a brownie.
See.
Yes.
Wow, you have lots of them too.
Yes. Basket ikabwere.
It is becoming more and more apparent to us how big the impact is that El Niño has on Malawi. It has still not rained at all. In Sengabe we also visit Sam and Peterson to see a project that they had built over the years, trying to work towards a more sustainable future.
I'm working both sides, in the bar, here as a tailor, swap shop. The swap is about people to people. We do swap shop because we want to clean Sengabe. So we like to ask people who can help us, who can donate anything like biscuit, clothes, which we can encourage children to bring a plastic. Because if you just tell children to bring plastic bottle, they can't bring without getting something. So we give them soap, exercise book, clothes, when they bring something here like plastic bottle, plastic paper and glass bottles. The plastic bottle, they go to Lilongwe for recycling and they make black plastic paper which people used to put on roof.
Plastic is all over the place. So if we can recycle that into a brick, and because in Malawi we don't have, like you have recycling places, don't you? You have a place where whether you know what happens to the end of that product maybe is irrelevant to you. You go and put your bottle in a machine, get your pennies and you're happy. But what happens to your bottle is not your problem anymore, is it? Where here you have to understand, you buy a bottle of water, you give that bottle to a kid, that kid gives it to mommy puts tobwa in it, which is a local drink. It's used until it's stepped on or until it gets a leak in it. Now it's got no use anymore. But whilst it's recyclable, it gets recycled 100-fold. That's why we opened the swap shop, is so that we could find a way to recycle the squashed bottle, the damaged bottle, the dirty bottle, the one that nobody wants. Because that's the one that's going to do the damage. Oh, well, yeah, climate change is huge. People don't think it is. It's affecting us in more ways than one. It's getting hotter. This season, been very, very hot. Rain is not like it used to be. So crops are being affected. Certain areas are not getting rain because of deforestation. This is not our first one. So it is getting worse and worse and worse. Each year you can feel it. And each year El Niño doesn't come every, but it came last time, it's worse this time. And when it rains heavy. Your rain is kind of like misty rain, if you call it rain. Here you'll get big drops, which does damage.
Even though no one treats us like it, we can't help but feel guilty. The harm these people are experiencing is very real, and it is triggered in a greater scheme of things by us, by the global north, the industrialized countries, and the consumer society we live in. We therefore want to hear the opinion of someone who is from Europe and is politically involved with the situation in Malawi. Next up on our journey, we are going to the capital of Malawi, Lilongwe, where we meet Alan Walch. He is head of the GIZ in Malawi, a German organization that over the years has spent over 170 million euros on projects in Malawi. At least that's what it says on their website.
Und wir haben jetzt auch schon gesehen, dass hier im Laufe der Zeit knapp 170 Millionen Euro über das GIZ sozusagen nach Malawi geflossen sind. In was für Projekte fließt denn dieses Geld so?
170 Millionen, was
stand auf der Website. So. Also im Laufe der gesamten Zeit jetzt.
In welcher Laufzeit? Die Zahl sagt mir jetzt
Ach so, seit das GIZ hier tätig ist, stand dort einfach nur.
Echt? Nee,
ist jetzt auch nicht so bedeutsam, einfach generell, wo das Geld so reinläuft, was für Projekte unterstützt das GIZ sozusagen, im Allgemeinen erstmal.
Also wir sind als GIZ ja vom Grundsatz her eine Implementierungsorganisation, beauftragt vornehmlich von der deutschen Bundesregierung. Da ist ein Projekt, was auch Leuchtturmprojekt für die Region geworden ist, das Aquakulturvorhaben, wo es darum geht, dass Fischteiche im Landesinneren angelegt werden und damit auch ein Druck genommen wird von dem See, vom Malawisee, der als überfischt gilt und aber der Fisch natürlich eine wichtige Ernährungsgrundlage ist. Wenn dann die extremen Regenfälle die Ernte zerstören, ist das natürlich eine absolute Katastrophe für die Bevölkerung. Nein, El Niño ist als solches, als Thema, das ist klar in der internationalen Presse, aber es wird hier nicht diskutiert als Phänomen. Es wird hier nicht diskutiert als speziell jetzt für Malawi, dass es Auswirkungen hat, sondern es ist generell der Klimawandel. Also ich habe jetzt noch niemanden gehört, wir hatten letzte Woche auch beispielsweise Regierungsverhandlungen, wo im Protokoll auch festgehalten wurde, dass es Klimaauswirkungen gibt und dass die deutsche Bundesregierung auch das respektiert, dass es hier oder anerkennt, dass hier es Klimaveränderungen gibt. Aber das Thema El Niño als solches ist in keinen Gesprächen jetzt als spezifisches Thema hochgekommen. Gut ausgelöst war jetzt die Diskussion hier in Malawi durch die mehrere Jahre hintereinander durchziehenden Zyklone während der Regenzeit hier in Malawi mit erheblichen Schäden, mit zunehmend erheblichen Schäden. Dieses Jahr hatten wir über 1000 Tote bei dem Zyklon Friary. Ich lebe ja hier in Malawi und sehe, was sich verändert und möchte natürlich da auch meinen Beitrag zu leisten, dass wir dem Land hier und der Bevölkerung helfen. Aber ja gut, das ist dann wieder eine politische Entscheidung, die ich nicht treffen kann. Auf jeden Fall ist es erkennbar, dass es eine Zunahme der Zyklontätigkeiten und der Gewalt, der Brutalität der Zyklone, das habe ich jetzt in den letzten 4 Jahren sehr deutlich gesehen. Ein Phänomen, was wir jetzt hatten, war die extremen Regenfälle in sehr kurzer Zeit, abgesehen von den Zyklonen, und der enorme Anstieg des Malawisees. Ja gut, es gab immer hier in Malawi die Trockenjahre und die Regenjahre. Ich kann jetzt nicht sagen, dass sich da ein Trend abzeigt oder dass die Leute sagen, es ist schlechter geworden oder besser geworden.
We leave with an odd feeling. What Mr. Walch says at the end does not really add up with what the locals had told us about El Niño. It feels like nobody wants to speak the hard truths, either out of politeness or political reasons. Then we meet Elia Kwenda, principal of 2 schools, a kindergarten, and head of the project House of Hope.
For me, it's a mixed way of feeling. In one hand, this is the reality on the ground. Honestly, without trying to point up fingers, but this part of the world, I'm telling you, it's like they have been punished for something that they have not done it. When you look at the impact of climate change, even the heat that we normally experience these days, very different. We used to have fresh air every time and all the time. Of course, you can feel the difference, even though it's hot, but still the air is a little bit fresh if you compare with Europe. But what I'm trying to say is things have changed, and sometimes we feel, those of us who are aware, we feel we've been punished, but we can't say it. Why? Because we feel if we bring this reality on the ground, you, our friends, might think we're just complaining for nothing. Because not everybody in Europe is aware of the impact, of climate change. Not everybody is aware that they are the most contributors of this trouble that this part of the world is experiencing. So the fact that most people may not be able to say, it's not because they don't know the truth. But like for me, I think even if I say Europe, America, China have contributed, then what next? Because at the end of the day, it's like I'm just complaining for nothing. But this is the reality. And to have guys, especially young people, who are aware that Europe or America, China are the most contributors of this climate change, it's so rare, especially in the most people's minds. So we know, but few people are aware. It is honestly. I wish the prime ministers in Europe, presidents in Europe, America, leaders in China could come and visit when these things have hit in this part of the world. We're talking of Malawi, but I know in Mozambique, Madagascar, South Africa, Kenya, we know. We all. I know. I cannot just talk about Malawi, but I have experience. I know. I have the information in Kenya. There was a time cows, animals were dying because of the effects. There was no rain. 2 years ago, animals were dying because there was no water. They tried to drill boreholes. The boreholes could produce nothing, no water. So I really wish leaders sometimes in their own free time they can just come and visit the impact of climate change. Mm-hmm. They have also contributed a little bit because they have cultivated on areas where they were not supposed to cultivate, like this part of the world. But we know that is just a drop in an ocean. But that also has contributed. But we know the industrialization in Europe, in America and China has and is and shall always continue causing all this havoc that our people are experiencing. We are talking of hunger. We are talking of people going to bed empty stomach. But someone is not aware and is still busy doing it. But they cannot stop. What they can do is to try to ease the impact